Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Very excited to chat with my boo for an hour. Just like we would if no one were listening, but I really hope they are. Is anyone out there listening?
Oh, yeah, Lisa is listening. Let's see. I think she left this comment on Spotify. I am listening and chuckling along from Vancouver Island, Canada.
Gorgeous. God's country.
I also love Love Island, but I love you guys more. Deleted my Hulu and have subscribed to your Patreon instead.
What are you saying?
That's pretty
That is like
bananas.
The biggest endorsement I could possibly imagine.
To help chip in on the plumbing bill. Thank you for that.
Okay, well,
Even nicer.
Really, really sweet.
This is where it gets interesting. My partner and I also have a slightly perverted stuffed animal in our household, but no kids, so that might make it even weirder. But I feel like Bearsy and Eric would get along swimmingly. Keep making people laugh. You make the heavy world a little lighter and brighter.
I wish... I love this whole comment. I wish I knew what kind of animal Eric was.
So I wish that too. And this was on Spotify, I'm remembering now, which is amazing because now there are comments on Spotify. Yeah. I replied to that comment, what type of bear, or what is Eric? Not even, is it a bear? Is it, what kind of stuffy is Eric?
Yeah.
Do you have any guesses?
Oh, did they reply?
No, not yet.
Well, let's not even.
Well, hopefully, maybe they'll
speculate.
Maybe they'll hear this and then they'll finally reply.
Yeah.
But also, I also want to say, Bearsy's not perverted. That's kind of a misdescription of
There
him.
have been times that, like, particularly, I think last year up at the cabin, where I was feeling like a little harassed by Bearsy. So even though, you know, to him, I guess it's just an innocent crush and animal instincts and all that stuff together. But
maybe I would be fine with you saying that Bearsy's inappropriate sometimes.
Yeah.
But not perverted.
Well, everyone has a different line, Andy. It's kind of an subjective thing. I don't think there's a line you get to cross.
Well, I definitely think perverts are inappropriate. Hands down. For sure.
But inappropriate is not always perverted.
Yeah. I think there's different, but, you know, we're getting into the fine details here with Bearsy.
Yes.
And his innocent affection for you.
Okay, speaking of stuffies, actually, I don't even know if I want to dive into this yet. Can we talk about Love Island a little bit? Yeah,
but before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to DIPSEA for supporting Nobody's Listening Right. DIPSEA is an app that has over 1,000 spicy audiobooks. They bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes and realistic characters. Discover stories about second chance romances, adventurous vacation flings, and hot and heavy hookups. Get an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/NLR.
I bet Bearsy would like DIPSEA.
See, no. No, he wouldn't understand DIPSEA. He's a bear.
Okay.
DIPSEA's for humans like you and I.
Great. So, Love Island.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get too into it because this podcast could very easily just become a Love Island reactions podcast.
I think we can talk about it in a way that you would have never even had to have seen Love Island. We don't have to get
that bar is very high. Okay.
I'm saying, because I have a feeling you want to talk about human nature.
Yes.
So like,
yes, I do.
This doesn't have to be so Love Island specific. It's a Love Island inspired convo, maybe?
Okay. Yeah. So shout out to my friend Michelle, who convinced us to dive into Love Island US. We have never watched it. I think we tried once back in the day and we're like, it's just not the UK.
It doesn't hold a candle to the UK.
But this season of the US got us pretty roped in. And I have to say the last season or two of the UK one didn't really do it for me. In fact, I didn't even know if we'd get back into it. But it took someone we respect and admire,
who said,
like Michelle,
this most recent season of the US version is going off, and that it was a bit of a, I think, like a surprise hit for the US version. It became, this is the definitive season so far, I think.
What I want to speak about is how humiliated I am for men
Yes.
watching this. Now, we can also say for women in some ways, but much less so. But it's such a like zoom out the nature of men versus the nature of women
Yeah.
and how men seem to have like no self-control. They only see what's in front of them. I mean, the like primal instinct to just fuck has never been so clearly on display.
Mm-hmm.
So basically on Love Island, different couples are coupling up and they're trying to find romance, and several seemingly found really great relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Well, enter Casa Amor, which is this genius thing that the producers of Love Island do, which is they put the boys into a different house for like 4 days.
And this is after they've been in the original house for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. With all new girls.
Yeah.
So it's like you're in a new, you've been eating chocolate the whole 3 weeks. You love chocolate, but you've been put in a candy store with all like sweet and sour candy. And you want, anyway, the idea is that it's testing these guys.
Yeah. And the same thing happens for the girls. The girls, 5 guys show up to their house, brand new guys. And so it's a test to see, are people going to stay in their original couples that they might be in, or are their heads going to be turned and they're going to pick these new people?
Yes. So anyway, now I want to back it up a bit. There's one guy this season who's clearly like the most handsome.
He's a smoke show.
He's such a smoke show.
I mean,
you look into his eyes and you're like, yeah, whatever. And he has this very chill, kind of obnoxiously doesn't give a shit attitude about everything.
Yeah.
And you have called it. Like every woman who comes into the house can be so intelligent, so kind of her head tight on her shoulders. Mm-hmm. And by the way, this guy is a snake wrangler. Like he's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not like, I don't know, some of these women that come in, I would expect to see them with like a Wall Street broker or a doctor.
So when you say he's not everyone's cup of tea, do you mean like his line of work?
Yeah.
Because his looks are every single person's cup of tea that walks in this villa.
But these girls come in and you call it because they'll be like, I don't really have a type. I really just like personality and intellect and kind of like someone who can challenge me and someone who's ambitious and kind of describing everything that's not him. Mm-hmm. And then he'll show like a tiny bit of interest in them.
Yeah.
And they're like, I've really connected with Rob.
If he shows any sort of gaze at them, he has them, which is wild.
It is wild. So that's one thing. And I think that's been more on display with the women coming into the house.
And you've been a little disappointed in some of the women, like, come on.
Yes,
right,
come on.
Sure.
But then Casa Amor happens. And the most solid relationships on the show, first of all, the guys had the choice not to go to Casa Amor this season, which I thought was brilliant. A quick aside, being a producer on the show must be so much fucking fun. Such hard work, but they have to.
That's not what I thought you were going to qualify. I thought you were going to be like, ethically hazy.
Well, there are some very hazy ethical things. There's like situations where the girls are kissing men without consent because they're blindfolded and they don't even know which men they're kissing. Yeah.
But no, I do think that it could be a lot of fun. And also, this is a well-oiled machine. They really know what they're doing.
Okay, well, so this is the other thing is like some of it can seem very manipulative to like dust up drama. But also, all of these people have watched all of the Love Islands. They have seen this play out, this Casa Amor situation, time and time again. And what happens is the girls are all like, oh, I miss the guy I'm in a relationship with. I'll call him Michael. Oh, I miss Michael so much. I hope he's not like stepping out. All the other girls are like, he's going to stay true to you. He would never. Yeah. And then the editing is amazing because it cuts to Michael like basically in a human pretzel with some girl and being like, holy shit, your eyes are like, I feel like I'm swimming in an ocean of,
Yeah.
The boys forget the girls that they're in a relationship with so fast. And this season, one of them seemingly didn't think about her and her feelings at all and got to Casa Amor and dove straight in head first. And over and over again kept saying, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. Meanwhile, they send a video. This is the other thing. Do these guys not remember what's happening?
Yeah,
You're getting
insane.
filmed and it's all getting sent to these girls. It's all going to come back and bite you in the ass. Even the ones who aren't like fucking around with the new girls are hyping up. This happens every year too.
Yeah.
There's one who stays true to the original, but his role is to hype up all of the guys who are being bad.
Which is also, I feel like every season we've ever watched, there is a guy that always does that, sort of. That's his role, I guess you're saying. Perfect, yeah. I didn't realize you were saying that as like, it's like a thing every...
Yeah. Anyway, so... But it made... The last 2 episodes, I was like... I looked at you and I said, are you embarrassed right now to be a man? And you were like, yeah, I am. Because seemingly there's no self-control. Like, once they're in front of a new hot girl, they completely forget.
Yeah.
They aren't holding, like, they keep, in every season, the boys go, I need to be tested. And the other boys are going, yeah, it's only going to make you guys stronger. It's either going to, like, it's a win-win. It's either going to show that you weren't that good to begin with and you're moving on, or it's going to make you guys stronger. Not thinking back to every single fucking season where all it does is devastate the girl back in the original villa.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you stronger. And then the guys come back and are like shocked.
That they'd be upset.
That they would be upset and that these guys can't, in some cases, come back with the other girl and go, well, I want to get to know her too. Yeah. And that the original girls are going to be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is
bonkers.
Bananas.
Yeah.
And so I asked you, had you ever cheated?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that.
No?
No.
Why?
Because I don't want to talk about that on this. Yes, I've cheated. Not on you in high school. Not really.
I mean...
No, I cheated.
One time.
I don't want to talk... Why? This was your setup to try to bring that up?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, I feel very attacked.
Okay.
I can deal with it, though.
Well, we're... Okay, I wasn't... Don't rewrite the narrative that I was doing all of this to get to that.
Well, you know what? I think you were, because women be so predictable, you know?
God. Okay. But just so you know...
Yeah.
The cheating aspect of it, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to talk about it, but
I just don't want to get into, like, specifics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, but can I just say, it wasn't like sex cheating. It was like high school, you know?
Yeah, it was in high school.
You felt bad about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It ate away at you.
For sure.
Okay, because even that is a better situation than...
You like to see some guilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a conscience. Like, don't be delusional.
Also, if there was no guilt, where would the rush in it be? You know, you got to pay some sort of guilt tax to feel the hotness that it could be to do the cheating.
Right. It took me a minute. Correct.
Yeah, it's like these guys didn't even feel any of that.
Well, one of them did.
There was no forbidden fruit.
The one that blew our minds was the one that we felt like was in the strongest couple. Mm-hmm. And he seemingly, one of them did have some remorse or conflicting feelings. Mm-hmm. This one truly was like, also the girl at Casa Amor he was with, I was like, she handled it so well and gracefully, but she also wanted to get into the villa. But he led her on. If I had been her, I would have been like, this dude is fucking falling in love with me.
Yeah.
And what was so funny is, so they sent the original girlfriend a video clip. It's 1 minute long. And the guy, when he comes back, he's like, you've only seen a 1-minute video clip. You can't base everything on this 1-minute clip. And we're sitting there going, bruh, you got hours worth of footage that is so much worse.
More damning.
Now, here's another thing I wanted to ask you, because my heart was breaking. We'll just say her name's Kaylor. She's the girlfriend of this couple. Mm-hmm. My heart was breaking for her, knowing how devastated she was. And she in the back of her head knew it was coming. And she said she had fallen in love with him, and then she was so freaked out when Casa Amor happened. Lo and behold, she was right. He was... Yeah. Which brings me to 2 lines of thinking. One is that thing where you have a gut feeling that the worst is going to happen.
Okay. And
sometimes it does.
I don't know if this is the best example of that.
Okay.
I mean, this is a situation where it really could have gone anyway, and we're in such a specific scenario of a crazy reality show that's all about hooking up with people. I know what you mean, and we've talked a lot about listening to your gut when there's...
Versus the thoughts that are invasive and...
Stranger danger. We talked about the other day, me leaving the Target with the kids because I was like, something bad's going to happen. You and I, we should circle back to earthquakes.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of gut stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
This particular case... I mean, maybe it's valid, but I don't know if this is like the blueprint for always listen to your gut.
Right.
Maybe. But if guys are such idiots, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's just a given. One of them was like, I just don't trust men in this situation. Yeah. And then it cuts to like all the reasons why that's a correct statement.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to ask you is, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You've never had your heart broken.
I've been pretty broken up, but I don't know if I've truly had like my heart broken. I would say I've had my head really fucked with.
Oh, interesting.
But I think that's slightly
it's a different flavor.
Different. Yeah, I've been like gotten really scrambled and like like I've been fucked with. But I think you know who.
Oh, I do.
A college girlfriend.
Who's got 2 thumbs and is wearing a red sweater.
Hey-o!
No, because I have had my heart broken. Mm-hmm. Now, it was kind of murky. It was my high school boyfriend, like the first boy I think I loved. And actually, I think the only other boy I loved besides you. And it was my first serious relationship and, my first. And
what's your first?
The first guy who bought me a stuffy at a carnival.
Whoa, that is a euphemism.
Okay. So, he was going off to college while I was still in high school.
Okay.
Classic.
Mm-hmm. Never works.
Never works. And nor should it. I am a strong proponent of like, I don't think high school sweethearts in this day and age should go the distance. I think it's always going to come back around.
When you do hear it working, it is in like a wholesome Christian situation.
Yeah, there are a few
exceptions. Which you almost had going for you because this was like kind of religious vibes, right?
It was kind of religious vibes.
But like you guys weren't in youth group. I feel like you got to be in youth group for that
Well, you're talking about a whole different... We're talking Catholic versus Christian, which couldn't be, in my mind, more different. But anyway,
yeah.
He goes off to college. Because I was so mature, told him... I don't want you to go and not experience your full college experience. I think I was realistic. So I was like, I'm not going to stop you from hooking up and stuff. I just don't want to hear about it.
Oh, but you gave him pass to sex?
No. I thought because I was a girl like these girls in Love Island.
Loose.
Where, no. Oh, no.
I meant like with your morals and like you were having sex before you were supposed to because it was in the eyes of the Lord.
Stop it. Okay. I thought I was so in love that the idea of kissing another guy was so like grotesque to me.
Yeah.
That I thought maybe he'd get drunk one night and make out with someone and then be like, ugh, it's not Elizabeth. Do you know what I mean?
What a sweet way to look at it.
Well,
But
that's really what I thought it was going to be, because I thought if he feels for me the way I feel for him. Now, I hadn't yet been able to watch Love Island and see how men really operate. Had I, maybe I would have thought differently. But long story short, of course, he cheated on me with many, many people. And I think his guilty conscience, one time he came clean to me, and I was so heartbroken. And for Kaylor on the show, I was thinking, this is like the worst timing. She's just falling in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
To have that betrayal right then, it really does feel like it's the end of the world. Like,
sure.
I think even more so than if you've been with someone for like 5 years. Not to, I mean, listen, everyone has different circumstances and it's all awful.
Yeah.
But when it's like a fresh, and so mine wasn't that fresh. I mean, we had been together for a while. But anyway, I was so heartbroken. I still kind of stayed with him on and off for a little bit after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like didn't eat for like 2 weeks. I was like, couldn't function. And I remember actually I was getting fitted for my like graduation dress, which we had to wear these like wedding gowns. It's such a weird thing in Missouri. Very strange sounding. But like by the time graduation came around, I couldn't fit into it because I was like skeletal when they were fitting me for it. Long story short, that feeling is so awful, and you cannot see the forest through the trees. You just think your entire everything is over.
So you're comparing yourself. I thought you were saying almost what happened to this woman that was in the midst of falling in love was worse than what happens to you.
I am.
Okay, and you were just saying, but this was so bad for you.
This was that bad for me.
The more striking thing that you're saying to me is that as a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, you even had the thought to be like, you know what, maybe you do need to, something will happen, whatnot, don't tell me. I think if high school guys, girls, anybody is so easily jealous, and like it's absurd to me that you even thought that. I think it's kind of cool that you even had that thought. It backfired on you, but do you know what I mean? That you even had that thought seems wild to me for a high schooler.
Well, okay, you also have to factor in that I had sinned with this guy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to marry him so I could kind of walk back the sin. And I loved him and stuff and felt like, you know, whatever. I mean, it turns out would not have been a good path for me.
Could have
but
been.
You don't know that at the time.
Could have been a beautiful path.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Nothing against that person. It's just it would have been a path where I couldn't have I wouldn't have had you.
No, that's right.
And all the laughter and love and also like TV writing would have been a very traditional situation, which I would not have handled well.
How did the two of us compare in the bedroom?
God. Okay. Not even comparable.
I've always felt inferior. I get it.
No,
Andy,
come on. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, so marrying, I saw like a long-term future with this person, and similar to what I'm saying now is I kind of wanted to be like, go sow your oats, but truly thought naively that would be like a few makeout sessions or something.
And you really kind of told him,
yes.
Like, maybe you saw a long-term thing, and it was in a way a little protection for you. You almost got ahead of the hurt as long as you weren't going to know about it.
Right. And he made the mistake of telling me. But I think by that point, actually, he had started to have feelings for someone else.
What was his body count up to that freshman year, do you
I
think?
don't know. And I feel bad talking about. Now I'm starting to feel a little nervous.
Well, I get it, because that's why I didn't want to talk about specifics about who I cheated on in high school, because, in case they listen, or you know what I mean. If it wasn't you, if you're listening.
And it was
someone else.
This wasn't you. If you were my high school boyfriend.
Yeah, you had, everyone knows, you had a few things cooking in high school. Your body count was through the roof in high school.
Are you looking for a little extra spice in your life? So I recently started listening to romance audiobooks on the DIPSEA app while folding laundry, getting things checked off my to-do list. It has never been more entertaining.
You like to do it when you're out and about grocery shopping and driving in your car, right?
Oh, yes. Anytime I'm grocery shopping, it's with a rugged Scottish sailor.
That should be a DIPSEA episode.
Yeah. So in my ear, out and about, a totally different experience. DIPSEA is created by women for women. Their app has over 1,000 spicy audiobooks, all crafted by a team of professional writers and top-tier narrators. And I do mean top tier.
Legit top tier.
Whether you're looking for a rugged cowboy, a Scottish sailor, fae royalty, or the god of the underworld.
What's fae royalty?
Not sure. But I'd love to find out. You'll find characters you love on DIPSEA. So for listeners of the show, DIPSEA is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/NLR. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEAstories.com/NLR. dipseastories.com/NLR.
Ooh.
What came up recently about body count? I hate the word body count.
It's just on Love Island. That's what they call how many people you've slept with. I think it's pretty funny. It's horrible, but I think it's funny.
But also...
They're way higher, too, these days, which I thought kids were having less sex.
I think that they are, and I don't know. I mean...
And when I say kids, I mean 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds.
Yeah, we're not talking about... But the thing, I mean, that was another, like, such deep hypocrisy was they do this thing where it's revealed how many people the contestants have had sex with.
Yeah.
And they're also like, how many do you think is respectable? What's a respectable number for your partner?
Yeah.
And the guys who have had sex with 40, 50, 100
70, yeah,
people are saying like 10 is too many for the girls to have had to be respectable. And the girls are like, what the fuck?
I love when the guys, like, someone's like, they reveal their number and it's like some weird specific number, like 73. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? You know it's 73?
Yeah.
But yeah, they had high numbers. But that's also speaking to how attractive these people. We were joking on our most recent Patreon episode of just,
Patreon.com/nobody's listening, right?
Nailed it. We were joking about how attractive people... I don't know, just get all these things in life, right? Yeah. But one of the things that I don't even think I realized that, like, crazy attractive people have a crazy amount of sex.
Yes, they do.
You know?
Because it's just thrown at you. I'm thinking of Eddie Murphy, where it's like pussy being thrown like a frisbee.
Yeah.
By the way, someone commented on that Patreon episode, we should have all drank every time Elizabeth said the word semen, but we would be all dead. Just really funny.
Do you want to pivot? Because I have a semen-related thing.
Sure. Let's take this opportunity to jump on this pivot.
Okay. So I can't tell all of the story because it's really not my story to tell. But I have a little update for you, which I've told you this story. We have a friend. They had a neighbor. Unfortunately, the neighbor passed away. And when the neighbor was found, it was a really ugly scene.
You can't share what the scene was?
I'll kind of share the scene.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to get too in the weeds with the whole story, but you'll see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Anyways, it was like a really bad...
This is very dark.
Very dark. If you have children...
Well, not as dark, though, as I thought it was going to be, but yeah.
Oh, no, it gets dark.
Oh, okay.
My update gets dark.
Oh.
Okay.
If there are children in the room, first of all...
This is...
None of
you've
this
gotten
is
this
good.
far... Okay. Neighbor passes away. Unfortunately, they find him. He's been there about...
He's an older... hermit.
Yeah, he's an older man. They find him. The first responders on the scene think he was there for about a week dead. It's a really horrible scene. There's a lot of feces and rats. And the guy's eyeballs have been eaten
by the rats.
Right. So that's the headline of this thing. I've already told you about it. Now I'm going to tell you something new, Elizabeth.
And can I just say, you told me this, and I was like, how did he die? And you didn't have that information, which I thought was important. The thing you said, and you set up how dark it is, was that his eyeballs had been eaten by the rats, which to me is not ideal. But also, that happened after he died. Like, no one was suffering. In fact, the rats,
You're so fucking weird. Go on. Go on. Go on.
No,
the rat's what? Got a meal?
Yeah. He's just a corpse. Uh-huh. Carry on.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the eyeballs are gone. That's wild to me. The reason I'm thinking of this story, you say you kept saying the word semen on the Patreon episode. It was because you went to a crime lab recently.
Yes.
So, and there was semen involved in the crime lab. I ran into this crime lab person recently.
Oh.
And I told them about this eyeball thing because I wanted to know from them, is this a thing that happens?
Wow.
It is a thing that happens.
Wait, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
I am horrified.
I know you're horrified.
You were talking to this person about this in the setting we were in.
Not an appropriate setting, but I was...
Tell me there were no kids.
There were no kids around, and I was
at all
very, very mindful about it. And really prefaced, like, I have a crazy question. It's very, very dark, and it has to do with your work. And there was nobody around. I made sure of that. Okay.
Okay. I just want to say, though.
Sure.
We also met new people at this event. Where
no one else was privy to this conversation. It was just me and the person.
Thank God.
There were no other people.
However, I'm starting to get a sense of how we might be perceived in the community because... you're having that conversation. I'm having a conversation with two parents, and there were kids around. I mean, I think I was pretty quiet. Mm-hmm. But about, Love Has Won, the Mother God documentary, and how,
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about a lot of...
dark stuff.
Inappropriate, maybe, things for the setting. Carry on.
Okay, so I asked about this. They're like, oh, yeah, this is a thing. This happens.
The eyes?
Yeah, this is a thing that happens. I'm asking, why? And they said that it might be because, the eyes, as they decompose, they get, very mushy. And so maybe they're just, so easy to get.
It's like mashed potatoes for those rats. They're like, ooh.
So the culprits, though, are you ready for this? This is what I wanted to tell you.
The culprits?
It's usually, rats or cats. Okay? Cats do it, too.
Yeah.
Now, dogs will never do it. So... And what they told me is the cliche expression. And it's also a thing that some people that don't like cats will say. It's if you pass away, your dog will just be laying there on your body.
While your cats are eating your fucking eyes.
But the cats will eat your eyes. And that's the difference between cats and dogs.
We finally got to the bottom of it.
Isn't that crazy, though? But you imagine this sweet dog that's stuck in this horrendous scene for a week, but he just stays on the owner. But if it was a cat, the cat's eating your eyeballs. It's kind of wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. And it kind of goes to
the vibe?
Animal instincts, what we're talking about with men and dogs and cats. Men are eating eyeballs and... the ladies are dogs.
Maybe. I sort of see it.
Was she happy to talk to you about that?
Did not seem phased at all. Yeah. I think
it
was. I think it's funny. Yeah, so cool. So
cool.
I know. I'm
By the way, that person is my new favorite person. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, okay. Carrying on. Speaking of death, I wanted to ask you a few things. One is, do you think that when we die, we I feel there are two scenarios, and both of these are assuming that we're not just worm food, okay?
Or cat food.
Do you think we get to download any of our questions we had during life? For example, what is happening with my shoulder? Is it that my left breast is too heavy? Or is it a cheerleading injury that never really got dealt with? I want to know what's going on with my shoulder.
That's what you want to know?
Hang on. There are a bunch of things. I want to know about John Benet Ramsey. Do we know about that? I don't know if we know the whole story.
Okay.
I don't know if we even know any of the story. I want to know. Oh, I feel there were theories, but I don't know if it was proven. There were theories like that it was her brother, and then her parents covered for
There's a spider on your pillow. Okay, chill out. It's like
Okay.
it's gone. You see it? Grab the pill. Okay, it's on there. Okay, you see him? You see him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, he's not there to hurt. Do you want to just like blow him into the corner?
I'm not gonna blow it. He's not gonna get off with the blow.
Well, he's coming at you though.
Andy. God damn it. Okay, I think he's gone. Okay, I want to know, like, what is the cure for cancer and, like, how far off are we?
This shit's
Can you even, like,
basic. This is you don't want to know, like, the big questions. You want to know, this is bonkers to me.
Well, so this is the question to me. Or are you so evolved when you step out of your physical body that you don't even care about those answers anymore? You're not even curious. It's just like on to the next.
I think if you were to show up, if there is a place to show up to, how about this? You get there and you're in the in-between or something, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, hey, here's the deal. You were just on a journey. That was a great journey you did. You're going to be here for a little bit. Time is kind of irrelevant here, but to you, it's going to feel like a little bit. And then you're going to be off to your next thing. You're not going to remember this moment here right now at all. Mm-hmm. But while you're here, if you do have any questions, we're happy to answer them. But you get 5 questions. Mm-hmm. If your first question was, did my shoulder hurt because my left boob was too big, they would look at you and be like,
we messed up with this one.
Yeah, they would be like, I'm sorry, you got to go back and redo that last one.
Okay, what would your questions be?
My biggest one would be, I have a big fear of what I just explained, that there is a moment where you do get some clarity on all of it, and then all of a sudden they're like, bye-bye, and you're back to the thing and you lose that clarity.
But why does that scare you?
Because it feels like infinity.
I kind of think that's what happens.
Well, so I'll tell you why it scares me. It feels like an infinite circle of things of not knowing, and a cycle that's going for forever potentially with no end. And that to me also kind of feels like nothingness, which scares me.
Okay.
Because there are no real answers and there is no clarity. If you even get the clarity, that then it's removed from you, sort of.
Right.
At the same time, though, the idea of there being a tangible end is also very frightening, because then I'm like, what's at the end? But maybe the end is something that we can't even
that's what
comprehend.
I was going to say. I think that... But that you're saying that feels like nothingness to me is very interesting. One of my biggest fears, and I think about this a lot when I see like asshole politicians who are like really hateful people out there who seem hell-bent on just creating suffering.
Yeah.
I'm like, my fear, because I love this life so much, is that I'm going to come back and have to live a life that is so challenging and hard. And I think about that for those people. You know what? The immigrants, you're ripping the babies away from the moms. Guess what? You're going to come back and be that baby next time. You know, stuff like that, where I'm like, it's kind of a literal distillation of what karma is. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I don't know if I can handle the hard version of lives out there that I see. That, I mean, obviously what's going on in the world in different places right now, I'm like, it's a living nightmare. And I feel like I really dodged it this lifetime, but who's to say? I don't
wouldn't
know.
The next time? That's interesting. My number one question would be, hey, what's the deal? What was
it's
that?
Like Seinfeld. What's the deal with?
What was that I just did? Right? What was that life? And is there going to be more of those? And the answers I'm getting here now, am I going to remember those answers? And also, are there going to be more answers down the line? Like, can you give me a bit of a blueprint, a little bit?
Blueprint. Well, see, I assume that you do know that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
assume that, like, once you are out of your physical body, you are kind of all-knowing in that sense. I'm talking about these stupid, annoying questions about your earthly existence that you might not just like have.
Yeah.
Which to me, a lot of it is these crimes that have never been, dealt or closed.
That's what you're thinking of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what? Give me one more example. You don't even know the details of the Jean
there was
Bonnet
that
one.
horrible there was that horrible thing that happened where there was that young, I think this couple was on vacation in like Portugal or somewhere, and do you remember this? They went to dinner and their kids were asleep in the hotel room, and their Madeline was her name. 3-year-old was just vanished from the room, and then the parents were like torn apart for having left their kids in a hotel room while they went to dinner.
Yeah.
Even though it was like on the grounds of the hotel, but still, I mean, obviously they regretted that choice. But no one knows what happened.
Okay, if you're those parents, I think a great question to ask. But you that's stumbling even remembering this in the beginning,
okay,
why do you care? That's what you're asking?
Or like cancer, like how far off are we from figuring it out?
Okay, check. Okay, let me role play this. I'm all knowing. Okay.
Hey. Holy shit. That was wild. I loved how I died holding hands with my partner, and he's going to be here very soon in our old age, peaceful, surrounded by loved ones. That was nice.
You are loved.
So, thank you. Now I'm here. Well, the first question that I think I know the answer to is, are my children and like the people I deeply love, my sister, my parents in my life, going to still be part of my journey? I assume yes.
Yes, you are loved. We are love. We are all love.
Okay. What happened to Madeline? Little Madeline.
I don't know.
What? Yes, you do.
That's not what we're here for. We're here for you.
Okay.
Ask me about cancer.
Oh, sorry. I forgot I don't have my side. What's the deal with cancer? Is there a cure? Are we far off from the cure, or is it some random thing that like, some random plant that you like mix with this other random plant? Or are we close? What's the deal?
In how you're currently thinking of time, in about 30 years, there will be a cure.
Oh, that's great.
And that's it. See what that felt like? Oh. Like, you don't need that info. Oh.
Oh, okay. What about water?
What about water?
Like, how long until there are like water wars?
Explain what you mean by water wars.
Where water is such a precious resource and we're flushing literally gallons of it every time we poop or pee. How long until people are killing each other over water?
Because they don't have enough of it?
Yes.
About 30 years.
Okay. Cool.
Wild. Okay. That's wild.
Now I have another question.
Is it death related?
No, but it's fear related.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard about the astronauts
that are stuck up there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that you haven't brought it up to me, because this seems like something that would really rattle you specifically.
Rattle me? Yeah. I'm losing sleep because they're having a bit of trouble figuring out how to get some astronauts back. That they're gonna figure it out.
I'm not worried about the they in your situation. I would imagine you read that. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
But I thought of you instantly, because I thought of you reading this going, oh my God, you who like, if we're going to a new restaurant or something, you get very anxious about like how we're going to get there, what it's going to be like when we walk in, like how are we going to get seated, all of this shit.
Yeah.
thinking about these astronauts going up to space and getting told, hey, you can't come back per plan.
Yeah.
You're going to have to live on this space station. The earliest we can get you back is sometime next year, but we're not really sure about that.
Yeah, the Cliff Notes version is two astronauts go up, right? And were they supposed to be there like 3 days? Like something short.
Very brief.
And now it's like it's going to be 8 months or more, I believe.
And there's no answer yet.
Not yet.
And
right.
I think that would be such a mind fuck.
But they're also astronauts.
Yeah.
This isn't a trip to the mall that they're like, fuck, is there going to be a big line at the Cinnabon? Because I really want to get Cinnabon, but it might be too crowded. And my wife isn't going to want to wait for me to get Cinnabon because she needs to get back to this appointment. It's not like weird little stress like that, right? They've been training to go to space, okay?
For 3 days.
Right, but it's
Bye,
a big
honey.
deal.
Bye, Mommy. I'll see you in 4 days. Mommy's an astronaut. Mommy's going to space.
But you can wrap your head around it more than we went to the mall and then we're stuck at the mall for a year. That would suck.
Well, that would be also kind of interesting.
Maybe.
Well,
a great place to be stuck, by the way.
Yeah, you have like everything you might need. I'm assuming if we're stuck there, we get unlimited like access to everything.
But just like the water wars, how many other people are stuck there? There's food wars in the mall. Like there's a nuclear blast and the mall gets locked in and we're all safe in the mall. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that show our friend made where they're in the airport.
Yes. What was that called? Station
11.
Yeah. Pat. Yeah. Wonderful show. Incredible show. I would say a couple of those episodes were like those rare episodes of TV where you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, there's two parts that like still bring tears and joyful heart feelings to me when I think of them.
I also recently, for some reason, have been thinking a lot about it's because we watched that Mr. Beast video where they have to like put their hands on a sensor once a day and they don't know when it's going to be. But the genius of Lost, where there was a guy stuck underground who once an hour had to press a button and was told that like all of humanity depends on him doing this.
Yeah.
But it turns out he was just pressing a button, right?
Yeah.
Like
he was so afraid to not push the button that something would happen.
When you think all of mankind is, if you don't stop doing this, are you going, I mean, it's such a genius, like, are you going to keep doing this? Mm-hmm. When you know you might be also doing it for no reason, well, and it ruins your whole life?
That would be a good question to ask. If, like, then the world ended, then you get to this waiting zone, and you could say, like, hey, did I really need to push the button? It's a great question.
Yeah,
you wouldn't ask about something else.
So you didn't really have a reaction to the astronauts. You read that and you kept on.
No, I think it sucks, and I think it's fascinating, but also my thought was like, they're going to figure this out. They're not just going to leave these people up there forever, ever. And they're not alone, right? There's other people up there. They got friends. They'll make buddies. Russians and Americans, and probably some other people in that internet. It's on the International
Space Station
situation. Can I tell you something I did that I thought was nice? It's a grocery store story.
Our favorite.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I'm at the grocery store. It's bumping. What
does that mean?
It's really busy.
Okay.
And there's 3 checkouts open, but each of them has a huge line. You know, just sometimes it just happens.
With how much we pay for fucking food at this store, could they please?
Oh my God. Go on. Go on.
Have some goddamn lines open?
You're going to look like such an asshole right now. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Oh, no.
Wow. Did you just step in it? So there's big lines. Okay. I think how most grocery stores are set up, it's hard to get into the line sometimes because they start overflowing into the aisles and it gets congested. So everyone's trying to, plant their spot and like stake their spot. I'm there and this older woman comes behind me and she starts kind of bitching about it. And then one of the lanes closes. Okay. Not an opportune time for
While
the
there's
lane.
a line?
Oh, God. Just tread lightly, okay?
Okay. I don't like that you said this old lady's bitching about it.
Well,
complaining.
So she's complaining. And then, so the line closes. And clearly they do need to open up some other lines. I'm pretty zen about this because it's clear to everybody here there's a situation on our hands. And something will need to be done. Or, worst case scenario, we're all waiting.
Did it seem like there was a reason for the lane to close?
So here we go. This is where I'm getting.
Okay.
The woman behind me is like, I can't believe this. She's got to go on her break now.
Oh, break.
And I turn to her and I say, listen. I didn't say listen. I said, I'm sure there's a reason why she closed up right now. I'm sure there's a reason. Because if there wasn't a reason, it would be absurd because of how much traffic and congestion there is. Mm-hmm. So I say to her, instead of bonding over like, yeah, this fucking sucks, which probably would have been the normal thing to do. Definitely the thing that you would have done in this scenario, right?
No, I wouldn't have. I would feel that inwardly, but I wouldn't have jumped on board.
You wouldn't have jumped on
public complaining session.
So, but I'm defending the checkout person and I say, I am sure there's a reason. And this lady goes, the reason is she just didn't want to do it.
No.
Yeah, that's her attitude. And so then I really doubled down. And I said, no, that's definitely not the case. If we look at what's happening here, she must have really needed that break right this second.
I'm like, by the way, the fact that you're engaging in this. And
I felt like I had to defend the honor of this checkout person.
I know, in some ways that's admirable, but also I feel like there's a version of this where you're just staying quiet. Everyone else is staying quiet. And this woman is sitting there railing against, the injustice, and no one is jumping in with her, which would feel like its own putting her in her place. Carry on.
Wow. I see something, I say something. Okay. I guess maybe not for you. What then transpires is, guess what? 2 aisles get opened up, right? And the asshole lady behind me gets waved down, which I know she would. And I said, it's all going to work out. I did say, it's all going to work out. You said
it's all going to be fine.
Yeah, it's all going to be fine. I'm sure there's a reason she's taking a break. And sure enough, they open up 2 aisles. What blew my mind is then it became very clear that this lady was like very much a regular because she's saying hi by name to 2 different checkout people. And I'm thinking, you know all these people?
Yeah, you know Kristen, you know Shelly, and you're talking that much shit about?
Shit?
Wow.
Unless the checkout lady that closed up does have a reputation for not wanting to do, she just doesn't want to do it. But I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
It was weird. That's all. That's
Why did she close the lane?
We never found out. Maybe she had to go to the bathroom. Maybe she needed a break. Maybe she...
I do feel like you just misled me and everyone listening.
I'll be mindful of that.
To think that there was some big reveal. I literally was thinking she came back and like her sleeve was up and her diabetes monitor would, or there was some reason that... You also set it up that like I would feel terrible.
Well, just because you're being like,
I stand by this. I stand fully by this. If you're paying $10 for a bag of goddamn grapes, now I'm not going against the checkout people.
Yeah.
The store itself needs to have more employees or some system where you're not having to wait in line for 30 minutes to pay. I stand by that. I'm not, it's a different texture. I'm not going against Cheryl, who deserves her break. Like, she should be able to have a break. Mm-hmm. I would never do that.
Maybe she has IBS or something.
I wish we knew.
Yeah. That could be a question you ask. That's kind of a question I would ask.
So I wonder if it was the same woman who, remember at that same store, there was a big incident of like, I took a parking spot that she thought was hers.
Yeah.
And
no, it wasn't her.
It wasn't. I think that there are people who just, I don't know why. I know we're complaining about things a lot. But like you and I have so much joy in our lives. I think there are a lot of people that the whole way they navigate the world, and we know some of these people, is through this filter of like, it makes them feel alive to, as you said, bitch about things.
But that's kind of us too. This is what's so funny. We're also complaining about complainers right now. And we also complain about tons of stuff.
Yeah, but it's to each other. We were talking about this with someone last night, talking about jealousy, industry jealousy, or like in our fields of work. If there's someone, it's like there's some people when their success you just genuinely feel very happy for.
Yeah.
But if there were like, I don't know, if someone became more successful for you, are you feeling happy for them or are you feeling jealous? And maybe both things can exist together. But if you're feeling jealous or threatened or whatever by someone else's success, it's something that, this podcast is us talking like no one's listening. I can talk to you about it,
right.
But I'm not going to like let that affect the relationship with the person. I'm only going to be stoked for them. Do you know what I mean?
But
it's
do you
knowing
mean you're in the example?
The place where it's appropriate to complain about things out there in the world, mm-hmm. I feel is like what we're doing.
But there is also a time. Are you saying in the example that you just used, you would never, let's use this example of being jealous of someone for a career thing.
Let's say like an assistant, who totally deserves success, mm-hmm. but became a showrunner and kind of like leapfrogged over things.
Yeah.
Which it's more like, oh, I'm jealous that I had to like work so hard.
Yeah.
We see this all the time where
sure.
For some people, things in their careers just come more quickly sure. or easier.
Yeah.
That doesn't change that they're not like they're talented and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might make me feel a little like insecure or a little jealous that things came to them so quickly. Now, in my like Zen state, if I zoom out,
yeah,
I'm going to go, no, but I wouldn't change my path for anything because I've learned XYZ. Sure. I've had to do this, that, the other.
Yeah.
Also, I would say things have come pretty easily to me in other areas of my life, like relationship and, it all kind of evens out, okay. I think. But yes.
The distinction I'm curious about, though, is you're saying you might have those feelings, jealousy of the assistant that all of a sudden leapfrogs you and your friends, let's say, you and your colleagues.
Yeah. There's some people in that situation who will treat that person differently.
Or write them off, maybe.
Write them off or kind of be unkind and not generous of spirit with that person.
Or not be able to handle that they're maybe in a bigger position of authority now than them, sort of, and be like, I can't deal with that.
And not be able to celebrate their wins and stuff like that, which they still should get to have to them. Versus the person, so basically they're projecting their own jealousy and insecurity mm-hmm. on that person who can't help that what's unfolded for them.
Yeah.
Versus, I think, me, if I'm in that situation, I can compartmentalize and I can have both feelings at once mm-hmm. where I am truly thrilled for them. I think that they, like, things worked out for them in a great way. They're happy. I know they're going to make great content. So to them, I'm not projecting my feelings of jealousy or insecurity on them in a way that's going to sully anything. But then to you, I might go, I'm feeling a little like jealous.
But to them, it's not phony. That was the question I had.
No, it's not. It's both things exist.
Okay. That was the distinction I was curious about. Not just, I'm going to be like, but publicly to them, I'm going to phone it in and be phony. You're saying you could genuinely be stoked. You can compartmentalize it, sort of.
Yes.
That's very healthy. I think hard to do in those cases where you maybe feel that jealousy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's big of you. I don't, there's times in my life where I can't do that, where I'm like, fuck that person, and might not be able to, in some ways, let it go. I will be cordial to them, but there probably is a bit of an air of a phoniness to it from my end.
Maybe.
But do you know what I mean?
I think with specific people, I'm saying the general you might have a chip on your shoulder because of the like history with that person that outside of that you wouldn't necessarily have. There are like a few people that, yes, if I see their success, I'm like, oh, God damn it. I mean, truly 2 people.
Yeah.
Maybe not even 2. But I feel like, so those are kind of unique circumstances. Everyone else, I'm like, I either am just genuinely happy for, by and large, the majority, I think.
Yeah.
I am no longer in a, and this is the work I feel like of this year for me has been disentangling. I was talking about this last night. My career no longer feels so enmeshed with my identity that I feel like I'm even more able now to celebrate other people's successes, and it doesn't feel like a threat to me, even though I think the pie is smaller right now in entertainment. I'm like, everything is going to kind of work out the way it should, and I'm okay with all of it. And if it's someone that I am excited about what they're going to bring to the universe creatively, awesome.
That's big. I like it. It's a good outlook.
Just in terms of how like feeble our little human emotions are, and this woman who sounds like her MO is just to complain about things and grumble and like walking through the world that way. Us dealing with these little jealousies or whatever, how we're dealing with them. I saw a picture that I honestly want to like frame because I think it's such a good reminder. And it was this couple on their hands and knees in a courtroom from the 80s or 90s with a pile of beanie babies in front of them. Yeah. And they're separating them for divorce proceedings. And they both look so stressed out. And I'm going, they have been in here for hours with a judge going, this piggy beanie baby, like arguing why they feel that they should have it and the importance that they're putting on these fucking beanie babies that they think this is their retirement, their 401k, everything is in these beanie babies. They're losing sleep over who's getting these beanie babies. Yeah. And it turns out it's all nothing. And that's what our kind of human condition, I mean, if you zoom out on any of this shit.
None of it matters.
None of it matters. None of it matters.
That would be a good question to ask. What of that stuff mattered? Did I get any of it right?
I don't think any of it matters. I mean, I don't.
No, but I think there's lessons that you're supposed to take from it.
Yes, that's true. But like, I actually might blow that up and frame it and put it somewhere because it's such a good...
Is it a cool picture?
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
It's in color or black and white?
It's color, but it's like 80s color.
Oh, that sounds rad.
And it's also like, just to remind yourself that whatever you're losing sleep over, if you zoom out and step away from it for a minute, it's a little absurd. Our human existence is pretty absurd in so many ways. Yeah. The things that truly matter are love. I mean, that's so cheesy, but the love you feel, the connection you feel with people, feeling supported and giving support, those, and also I will add to that, feeling creatively inspired and making things that make you feel good in this life, I think are what matters. And everything else is just kind of dumb. Beanie babies. Everything else is beanie babies.
I also just quickly want to defend the beanie baby people. If you get a lot of joy from collecting stuff.
That's not what that was.
No, I know. It's a totally different thing.
Hands and knees in a courtroom, and you can tell this is taking hours and hours.
It's hilarious.
And how, like, the feeling that they have in their bodies, like the fire within, the rage, the injustice, the outrage, the jealousy, the anger, the hurt.
They used to fuck each other and like have great times together.
Maybe. I mean,
and now they're sorting Beanie Babies.
But also, like, yeah, I think it's just knowing a massive amount of emotions that are in both of them, and the outrage and like the planning, and it's all for. It could be rocks, you know.
Yeah.
It's just so silly.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.